Yo, what's good? What's good, everyone? Yo, guys, see that there's 4 people on the call right now. That's awesome. Let's go ahead and get this number going. Now there's 6. I want at least 20 people on these calls, all right? So share, go to Twitter, retweet the live session, share with all the chats that you are in. Make sure that people know that this call is public. What's good, brother? What's good? And yeah, guys, welcome back to another Technical Tuesdays. I'll see you guys here in about 2 minutes. We're going to get this call started, all right? So let's amp up the numbers. Let's share this link with everyone who may benefit from it. We're not only going to be reviewing yesterday's price action and a little bit of last week's, but we're also going to be diving into the outlook for the whole entire week, okay? So we're going to lay out the whole gesture of the week here in about 2 minutes. So I'll see you guys here in just a sec, all right? Yo, what's good? What's good, everyone? Welcome back to another episode here at the Inner Wealth YouTube channel. We're here live for Technical Tuesdays. We're gonna have an amazing Technical Tuesday today, guys. And another amazing week. Last week was beautiful. All right, our targets got hit left and right. Price action was crazy at the end of the week last week, but for overall, our objectives were pretty on point. So we're gonna check it out this week. We're gonna see how we're doing. We've obviously already had 2 full trading day sessions, and now we're diving into our 3rd trading day session, right? And I feel like between Tuesday, the reason I'm doing the Technical Tuesdays because between Tuesday to Thursday, to me, are like my favorite times to trade. I tend to find my best setups throughout these times, and not just that, but a lot of the market bias. For example, a lot of the market sentiment is already pretty obvious by the time Tuesday hits. So predetermining, targets, seeing possibilities and setups is to me, the easiest to do on this window between Tuesday to Thursday. Okay. And so let's just dive right into it. Okay. So on a monthly perspective, we hit that monthly low. I was looking for the monthly lows at that opening of this month, right? I was looking at that double low, double bottom at the beginning of this month, and as you guys can see, we have failed to create new lows, and we have accumulated to the upside. Now, with this last week closing bullish, I don't see these lows getting touched until we at least get above the previous monthly high. And who knows what may happen even beyond there. But we are pretty bearish, so my hopes are that, well, not hopes, but my bias is on this range right here, coming 50% and above. Notice that we don't have anything 50% or above. So after we run this high, I wouldn't be surprised if May's high just kind of lingers around above 50%. So then June can come in, sweep the high of May, right? The high of May that's going to be created. One sec. Sweep the high of May, and then we'll get some internal liquidity going, right? So maybe that will take place. My eyes are just going to be at this high for the remainder of the month. We have another 14 days, so we'll see what we end up doing, but I think it's very, very close to hitting. So for me, honestly, if you also wanted to look at this range, you can see that 50% and above is probably not a bad target, right? It's like probably not a bad objective to look at, 50% or above, given that, again, we've accumulated and expanded to the upside. Okay, so that imbalance here on the weekly gets my attention. We did accumulate here on the weekly very nicely, took out previous highs. It doesn't seem to want to slow down. Overall, this morning when I was with you guys on Twitter, I was sharing my thoughts about, yesterday I was sharing my thoughts about the overall more longs. We didn't really get those, and we just kind of like created this down close candle. But all that was, if you looked at the day, at the end of the day yesterday, it was just a daily imbalance that wanted to be created in there to help us take this price to a higher level. So I'm still pretty bullish on DXY. I do see that this gap is being respected 1, 2, 3, 4 different times. We'll see what happens when we climb in there the 5th time. Of course, anticipate some rejection. It's very likely that will happen after taking out this liquidity and coming into this level right here. But for the most part, we can see that this previous monthly high is fairly close. Okay, so we'll keep our eyes on that and continue shooting for longs. But overall, Monday or last week on Thursday, for the most part, I was pretty done by Wednesday on trading. But the fact that we didn't come for the lows really shocked me, and we just ran. We had a failure. Okay, check this out. We had a failure to create a lower low, right? So we had a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and a failure to create a lower low. Okay, once we have, for me, the confirmation of the bullishness, of course, was right there, technically speaking. Okay, but the way that we close, a really good way before you even see something like that is just to ask yourself, if this was a mitigation candle that swept liquidity and this was the thing that's going to turn this thing around, we wouldn't come and close more than 50% into it. Okay, for me, an institutional candle or an order block, a valid order block, we're not going to trade more than 50% and close up there. If we do trade to 50% or beyond, it's going to show me some level of rejection. So right here by Thursday, by the end of Thursday's trading session, you guys can see that we just pumped right up. And it was right from this bullish 4-hour imbalance here. Also an area that was shared on Twitter. A bullish 4-hour imbalance, and of course you can see that we had this breaker as well, that up close candle that created and broke structure, swept the previous low and broke structure. Okay, so we'll look at that. That's a nice breaker. We come down to it, 4-hour imbalance, and then just continue pumping. Okay, and then Friday was very similar. Something that I love these schematics. Okay, my favorite schematics is when the bullishness has already been confirmed. It's Thursday. The bullishness may not have been as obvious to you by the beginning of Thursday. Okay, maybe this whole break to the upside wasn't that obvious to you and this imbalance. But by the end of Thursday's closure was way beyond far into this institutional candle, right? With zero rejection to the downside. So now bullishness have been pretty confirmed, and you have a very, very easy target, right? Very, very easy target. And so my favorite trades, okay, are the ones that are really close to a target, to a liquidity level, right? And all we do overnight is create kind of like, if it's bullish, all we're gonna do is overnight we're gonna do something like this, where we come down slowly, and all we're looking for is an insufficiency, a level of support, something to sweep and take this higher. Okay, and as you guys can see here, even though we had already swept that previous daily high, okay, you guys can see here we create a high here during London, right? We come into that 4-hour imbalance. London open, sweeps that previous 4-hour low, creates a higher high, higher low, higher high. Right? Remember what I always tell you guys? After 10 a.m., we're going to shoot, right? 9 a.m. to me, 9 a.m. usually gets ran through. Okay, 9 a.m. liquidity usually is a liquidity buildup hour. Okay, not always, but tends to be more often than not. See that right there? Both the highs and the lows of the 9 a.m. candle get wrecked. Okay, low gets taken out, 10 a.m. comes in, we continue to run for the highs. Easy target. Okay, so after we're just, again, super bullish, okay, you're looking at any level of rejection. So then you can see right here the level of rejection. You know, we came into that weekly opening gap, or that new opening gap, and we rejected here. We came into it, rejected slightly, but created an imbalance overall. So that insufficiency to me has a little bit more strength, given that it's a bullish insufficiency, and this is just a area that we could use as a target. Okay, so far, 1 second, do you think the previous fair value gap on DXY daily could get tapped into? The previous one, that one right there, it's likely that we will tap into it, but the thing is like, you guys gotta understand, this structure is pretty bullish, and we're not gonna look for too much liquidity. You know what I mean? Like, we already took the previous daily low, we took the previous monthly low, right? And then over here, we attempted to sweep the previous weekly low. Here they are, right? And we failed to. So you can see that we're not gonna come for major liquidity anymore. You know, daily liquidity is probably going to be sufficient enough to continue pumping up, because we have an overall objective. So when I see two big ass candles like that, I ask myself, like, what's in that direction that's attracting price and pulling price higher? And you have this high right here to the left, and this previous monthly high right here, right? So you always go for the lowest hanging fruit, but you have that weekly high right there, previous weekly high, and you have that previous monthly high. So you had two objectives. You have a reasoning why we failed to create a lower low, and a reasoning to go higher. Now, your goal as a trader is to anticipate, how far back am I going to retrace? How far back is price going to retrace? Well, this is the daily. So on the 4-hour, until the 4-hour breaks, you're not going to get much of a retracement. And even the 4-hour breaking is the retracement itself. As you can see here, the 4-hour breaking bearish is just the start of a retracement. All we did is sweep a previous daily low and then just continue pumping. That's it. Right? You can see that we're not going for the weekly lows. Look at that. Daily low, that's as far as we went. Daily low, that's as far as we went. Right? Asian low, that's as far as we went. So you gotta understand, there's an objective, there's an agenda. There's something else to the upside that we have yet to tap into that's drawing price. And so until the 4-hour breaks, I'm not gonna look for any more retracements. I will be looking for an accumulation out of this area below the Asian low. Because why? One, we already took the monthly low. Two, we have failed to create a lower low. Okay, 3, 4 hours bullish. Right? So follow order flow in the 4 hour. Okay, and then 4, you have that upside liquidity that's just hanging right there. We're right below it. This is a great accumulation schematic. You have one previous daily high here, one previous daily high here, right? You have previous weekly high, previous monthly high. So everything's just kind of hanging out right there. Okay, so Muhammad asked, bro, something that confuses me a bit is that DXY is so bullish and NAS is still pushing up and other indices dumping in the case. What is the best thing to do? So that is actually a really good question. I was actually talking to a student about this earlier today. And shout out to all 12 of you guys. You guys are awesome that you guys are tuning in. You guys tune in week after week. Like, hey, thank you. For reals. I love seeing that number up there. So one of the questions that I hear a lot lately is like, hey, if the dollar it goes in hyperinflation, what will happen to the stock market? Larry Williams talks about this in his books, and in the trading books that I've seen, and I'm not talking about psychology, okay, we're talking about like actual trading books. Like Larry Williams is probably the only one that I've actually read. I'm not going to lie to you. And in one of his books, actually, so I'm really grateful for it. In one of his books, he actually talks about experiencing an economical crash, going through a recession. And he said that throughout these recession times, throughout the times where the economy is struggling, oddly enough, the markets were so manipulated, and he didn't say that. I said that, but what his bias was, his conclusion was that even though the dollar would be hyperinflated, the indices still continued to pump to the upside throughout this recession. Because you gotta understand, people are dumping their money in an asset that will generate income. People don't want to hold on to fiat that's hyperinflating. So if DXY is hyperinflating or inflating overall, right? Because we've been just kind of hanging low for now. But the Fed's hike rates, and personally, I don't see the chart moving any lower. Even though they hike the rates, which is supposed to bring the inflation down, we're still seeing the dollar rise. Right? So you can see that, one, the dollar's hyperinflating, and then two, people need somewhere safe to put their fiat, their money. They don't want to hold on to fiat. So what they do is they invest in the stock market. What's something, you got to understand this. What is something that is blowing up right now? What is the platform that is blowing up right now? Drop it in the chat. What is a platform that is blowing up right now? Something that you guys see everywhere. Everyone is starting to use it. All these fucking influencers are pushing out on it. Twitter's talking about it. Google is adopting this new platform. What is it? You guys have seen a million things of it. I promise you. Rumble? No. It's AI. Artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, guys. That's what it is. Right? So artificial intelligence, because we have a lot of these technology businesses that are now investing into AI, and AI is going to be something huge, guys. Huge. Everyone's going to want to do things remotely. Everyone's already doing things remotely. Now those people that have been doing things remotely for years are going to automate everything so they can have a system automatically do these things remotely for them. Okay, that one girl, that chat GVP, yeah, AI. That one girl, that one influencer girl that just came out from, I forget, Middle East somewhere. She made an AI version of herself, okay? She's an influencer, this female, I forget her name, okay? And she's gorgeous, and she made an AI version of herself. Now, this AI version of herself is programmed to be whoever's girlfriend or partner for $1 I think she said $1 per minute or $1. I don't know, $1 per minute. I think it was. I don't remember. So you're looking at $1 per minute. Her first week was over 72,000. Her small investment, she said it within the first week, it 2,000 times her original investment in ROI. Like imagine 2,000 ROI. Okay, from your one investment. Again, it's AI. AI is the big platform. What is that? Technology. What is the indice, the index fund that is technology based and not bank based? NASDAQ is the only one out of the assets, out of all three of them, Dow Jones, SPX 500, okay, NASDAQ, out of the three, is the only one who does not include institutional banks. Okay? So there's zero banking to do with NASDAQ. What's the industry that's taking the biggest hit? Come on, guys. What's the industry that's taking the biggest hit? Banks, right? If you guys are paying attention, banks. Banks are taking the biggest hit. Dow Jones, SPX have banks, Chase, JP Morgan, have banks in their, as a part of their funds, right? And so therefore, those are the ones that are lagging. Those are the assets that are lagging behind, aren't they? NAS is flying. It has nothing to do with, NAS has zero institutional banking in any of their companies. Dow has a bunch of banking as one of their companies listed. A bunch of banking listed. SPX, a bunch of banking listed. Technology is rising. People are investing in technology. So these companies that are getting invested on, Microsoft, all these fucking AIs, they're technology-based businesses. So therefore, they probably will or are already listed on the NASDAQ. So that's why you guys are seeing a big, like, just pump on NASDAQ. NASDAQ doesn't give a, it doesn't care. It does not. It has a mind of its own right now, and then you have to understand, because you guys, you can't just look at the charts and then expect to know like everything that's gonna happen. You have to understand the world behind your assets. You have to understand the economy, the business behind your assets. Right? Like, it wasn't until last year that I knew that Dow Jones and it wasn't until last year that I found out that S&P stands for the Standard and Poor 500. Did you guys know that? It stands for the Standard and Poor 500. The biggest 500 companies in the United States. Dow Jones, right? It's the biggest 30 businesses here in the United States, but also include banking. NASDAQ is the only one that doesn't include banking, and its major companies and businesses are all surrounded around technology. That's why NASDAQ is busting. Yeah, NASDAQ is busting. So I mean, look at that. The divergence between all three indices is huge, but I don't anticipate any shorts anytime soon. I'm waiting for the longs to line up. That's basically all I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for these longs to really line up on both NASDAQ. NASDAQ is already gone, but Dow and S&P, that's what I'm really waiting for. I'm just waiting for these longs to line up. Once they line up, I'm going to shoot my shot and, hold, because despite the DXY pumping to the upside, it's not going to pump to the upside all the time. And the DXY needs to retrace very slightly for the indices to pump. As you guys can tell. Very slightly for the indices to pump. So the DXY doesn't necessarily need to make a new lower low or come to these lows for us to continue pumping to the upside on indices. Just while in a recession, listen to Larry Williams. While in a recession, anticipate the stock market to continue to rise. Okay? there will be businesses that will take hit, and that's gonna come with anything. Everything and anything comes with a risk, right? So, anyways, I've been ranting on about this for a while. We'll move on. Yeah, well, there's some really good questions. Let's go to Dow Jones. Okay, out of all three indices, Dow Jones has been falling pretty hard. It's got, almost three full bearish weeks. Maybe this week will be the third one that remains bearish. But if you're looking at this whole range, that actually took out major liquidity. So here you have May. Now, it's something I want to tell you guys. That's the high of May. You notice all this to the left? The high of May literally took out April. And April took out a lot. Okay, the high of April is right there. We sweep April and then we just start melting down. Okay, so let's go on the monthly again. We just start melting down. You guys have to understand is we're still in this bearish counter trend. We can really just move lower and continue to drop lower. Okay, my eyes do go to this low. Will they fall that easily? Hey, who knows? But my eyes go to that low. Okay. Currently looking at some more downside targets, but price action is gonna struggle. Just know that. Look at this. This is how much price action is struggling to go lower. This is how much Dow Jones does not want to move lower. Look at these up days. Okay. Look at these up days, bro. Look. 3 consecutive up days. 4 consecutive up days. Look how big those moves are. Right? You have a down day, then big move up. Down day, big move up. Look, every time for the past month or so, or 2 months, we've struggled to move lower. Besides taking out April's high, we struggled to move lower. Okay, it wasn't until we took out April's high that we melted to the downside. Then we created a lower high to a lower low. But as you can see, look, check this out. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. 7 days to create this low, and we have yet to even take out the lower low and take out external liquidity. 7 days. We've been just chilling around this range. Price is struggling to go down, and despite of how much DXY is pumping, price will struggle to go down. And it's because people need to find somewhere safe to put their assets. Some people would like to find safe areas to acquire or maintain their level of wealth, because maybe the stocks won't rise, but someone with a lot more investment experience may find that instead of holding their fiat currency, it's better to hold an asset that won't fluctuate as much, given what the world is going through right now. The whole thing with Russia, Ukraine, all that, it's fucked. Okay? And I'm not here to scare anybody or anything. I'm just saying, like, keep up with all this stuff, because it has to do a lot with us. Believe it or not, we may not be affected directly, but we're definitely being affected indirectly. And we all are. There's not one person in this world that's not being affected indirectly by this whole thing. You're either being affected negatively or positively, but that is more determined to you. That is determined by you, how this affects you. Positively, keep up with the world, keep up with all these things. This is trading. This is what trading's about, right? Understanding your assets to that next level, understanding yourself. That's what trading is. So just understand that this is just part of the game. Do your research on these things. Like I mentioned, I think it's very important. I think it's very important for you guys to understand if you don't even live in the U.S., I think it's important for anybody to understand what's going on in the U.S. right now. When you're just the power, you have like the top power of the whole world. and then you're getting knocked off your fucking throne, people are gonna act desperate. We're gonna make some desperate moves. Some of them might go to war. Who knows? Right? Like to me, one of the desperate moves was the Fed now. Right? Fed now is going into effective in July. At least as far as I kept up with it, it's going into effect in July. Some states are fighting it, are trying to not have it be applied to their states. I'm pretty sure, I live in Utah, and I'm pretty sure we're going to be applied it here. So I don't doubt it. So just be aware of these changes. Who knows how Fed now is going to affect the DXY? We don't know until we're riding it. So just keep up with everything. And to be honest, just knew what companies NAS has. I just knew. Yeah. If you're interested in NAS is a good one to follow, but it's also good to understand why NAS would rise in a time like this. It has nothing to do with the DXY. Well, it may have a little to do with it. Everything has something to do with it, with everything. But for the most part, guys, price action's walking itself down. What is one of my rules when it comes to this type of price action? Write this down if you've never heard me say it. Write this down, because I will say it again and again, and I hope that you write it down every single time, because I wish somebody told me this while I was learning how to trade. Is follow structure, okay, until we hit liquidity. What does that mean? This 4-hour distribution here, follow it. Follow structure, follow structure, follow structure, follow structure, follow structure, boom, until we hit what? Liquidity. Because then here at this low, we could, start doing that thing. But follow structure until you hit liquidity. Okay? It's a good rule of thumb that I've had for a while now. So just following structure, just continue to follow structure here, and let's see what ends up happening. The previous daily highs are all intact. Look at that. Okay, all of them. Maybe we sweep the low, we jump the creek, and go. Right? But for me, yeah, it's this low. This low is the one that I've been targeting. If you guys did participate in the shorts, the shorts did play out very nicely. They played out very nicely on Friday. And I want to show you guys this, because not always will you need a very higher time frame or lower time frame entry. Some of them can be, look at that. We sweep the Asian high, right? Just swept that Asian high. We create a lower low. Remember, follow structure until you hit liquidity, right? Liquidity's down here. We come into that imbalance right there. Beautiful price delivery. By Friday, I was super done trading, so I didn't participate. But when I started realizing what I needed to do to become a better trader and focus my goals away from like money, instead of putting, because my goal, you gotta realize this, and I tell my students this all the time, especially my students in my 6-month program. Okay, we're currently going through the 6-month program. We have like about 2-3 months left. I will be starting another 6-month program here in August, or July and August. I will open enrollment here in June. I will definitely let you guys know first, but I tell my students this all the time. And it's when I started doing this, okay, hold on. I'm gonna talk to you guys very serious for a second, so give me a sec. Okay, so when I started doing this, the whole trading thing, my goal was to become a 6-7 figure trader. Okay, so my desire for income, for a larger income, and for more freedom to own more of my time, was the main reason why I started going through trading and why I found trading. So now, my level of consciousness, okay, that current level of consciousness was the one that created this whole opportunity for me. Okay? But here's a quote that I'm going to share with you guys, and it's by Albert Einstein. And it's no problem, the quote goes, no problem can be resolved with the same level of consciousness that created it. No problem can be resolved with the same level of consciousness that created it. What does that mean? Now, let's shift that word problem over with opportunity. So now, no opportunity can be seized with the same level of consciousness that created it. So you guys desire to have more freedom, desire to make more income was the thing that opened the opportunity to trading. But the same level of consciousness that got you to this moment is not the same level of consciousness that's going to seize the opportunity. Drop some sevens in the chat that's making sense. Drop some sevens in the chat that's making sense. I need to check it out. It's over here. Okay? Because most individuals right now, most students, I can speak for a lot of students here, that most of you probably have as a goal mentally or written down that I want to be a six-figure trader, a six-figure funded trader by the end of 2023, or by 2023, or by the next 2, 3 years, 5 years, whatever. Most of you may have that desire, that goal. I want to be a six-figure trader, a six-figure funded trader. I want to be a profitable trader. Well, see, that goal is what got you the opportunity. That goal is what brought you to this call. That goal is what got you to this YouTube channel. That goal is what brought the people around you together. That goal is what created this opportunity. Now you have the opportunity to become a six-figure trader. You guys know how easy it is to become a six-figure trader? There's people out there passing accounts, and all you got to do is pay them. It's not that hard to become a six-figure trader, but what's cool is that level of thinking was what created this opportunity. Now you guys have created an opportunity to become a six-figure trader, which is doing the challenge. Right? That's what created that level of consciousness. That goal of becoming a six-figure trader is what opened this opportunity, what created this current opportunity that you're experiencing. But with that same level of consciousness, with that same goal, you will not be able to seize this opportunity. And I want you guys to know that right now. I'm being very blunt. If you have the same goal to acquire a six-figure account, the same one that you had last year, you have it this year, and you think that's going to get you further, I promise you, it's not much movement. You can tune into all the calls that you want, but it's the goals, what you're moving towards, what you're expecting from yourself and from the market. Because you're expecting a six-figure account from the market, when you should be looking for a six-figure performance from yourself. I'm telling you guys, the same level of consciousness that brought prop firms into your life, that brought trading into your life, that brought mentors into your life is not going to be the same level of thinking, of consciousness that is going to get you to seize the opportunity. With that same level of consciousness, you will only find more problems, but you will never be able to resolve those issues, to resolve and seize the moment, the opportunity, with that same level of consciousness. Okay? So yeah, I'm glad. Drop some 8s in the chat if that made sense. Okay, before I will go back to the charts. I want to make sure that you guys are following with me tonight. All right, because it's just facts. I don't know. I wish people told me this shit before. And where I was getting at with this, where I was getting at with this is, look at your goals. Like, look at your goals. What are they? Are they setting an expectation from the market? Or are they setting an expectation from yourself? Are your goals monetary valued? Or are they self-valued? That's something that you need to ask yourself and revise. Because if your goals have a number on it, I guarantee you that you're probably expecting money from the market or something from the market. And that's keeping you from expecting more of yourself. Because you need to understand that the market's not going to give you what you want, but you can acquire what you desire. Right? So with that, when I will give you guys some tips, I'm not just going to tell you guys, oh, don't do this, don't do that. Nah, we gotta throw on a game plan, right? This all recalls for a game plan. So change your strategy. This is where we revise our goals. We go back and look what goals have created my current opportunities. Right? What goals have I set that created my current opportunities? Now, my current opportunities, lay them out and find goals that align with the person that would seize those moments. So for example, if I want to become a 6-figure trader, I have to be able to consistently catch a 1 to 3 or 1 to 5. Right? Consistently. Not just one and then get clapped 3 times and then another one. No, but consistently be able to perform with this current strategy, 1 to 3s or 1 to 5s. So guess what? I knew that I was struggling on the 1 minute, on the 5 minute. I knew that I was struggling on the lower time frames. I was shooting myself in the foot, literally shooting myself in the foot every time I went into the lower time frames, because I knew I had the higher probabilities of getting clapped on the lower time frames. Okay, so I recessed and I was like, all right, I'm stepping back. Right, I'm stepping back, and I'm gonna step back and I'm gonna give myself some room to clarify. And my goal went from finding or getting a 5% weekly to only 2 to 3% weekly. And I stopped looking for a setup every single time, or for as many setups as I wanted, and I only looked for 2. Now, it didn't just happen overnight. What I did is I placed performance goals. So a lot of you may know me from like a couple years back, like 2 years back when I was swinging it. Who remembers when I used to trade GA, GU, GJ, and I used to be the London trader as well as the New York trader. Like, if you guys been following me for a while, then you must remember those days when I was trading those assets. Okay, and back then my performance goals were based off, for example, for weeks I used to be a huge swing trader. Then I realized that I wasn't making as much money as I should swinging. So that's not the story though. Okay, I started with this. Okay, if I want to become better in the lower time frames, I need to become better in the higher time frames. But I'm not gonna take daily entries, 4-hour entry or 4-hour entries. You can take 4-hour entries, but I was looking for 1-hour entries or above. 1-hour entries that will bring me a 1 to 5, right? That's all I wanted, is a setup that was a 1 to 5 based off the 1 hour. Then I looked for 2 setups that were both 1 to 5, but off the 15-minute. Because once I got good at the 1 hour, the 15-minute became a breeze. I found those 2 15-minute trades, right, within the first month of me shooting for that goal. Very easy goals to acquire, very easy goals to achieve, and their performance. They're showing you that you know what you're doing. Okay? And then what I did is I mixed those 2 goals. Now I'm looking for a 15-minute entry on a 1-hour expansion. Now it's becoming a little bit more intricate. A 15-minute entry and a 1-hour expansion hold. This is a 1-hour entry. You could have found a 15-minute entry. That's totally fine. Find a 15-minute entry, but hold it for a new 1-hour low or a higher high. Hold it for a 1-hour expansion. That was the goal. Then it became a 15-minute entry, but for a 4-hour expansion. Then slowly, I'm telling you guys, it became to a daily expansion. Once I hit that one, I did it for a weekly expansion. Who remembers this one? Okay, GBP AUD. Man, this brings me back, guys. This brings me super back. All right, I don't like to go down memory lane like that, but we're gonna go down this one. I literally caught a 5-minute entry somewhere up here after we had taken internal liquidity, and I rode this sucker all the way down to these lows. but my main objective was that low. So I wrote it from a weekly lower high. It was like a 5-minute entry. I still remember it. And I held it for a full month. It was from the 27th. It was literally my birthday. It was crazy. From my birthday all the way a month later. It was a full month trade. Okay? And the way I did it was like that. I built up to it. I built up to performance. I built up my performance. I backtested my performance. I literally put objectives for myself to not show off or anything like that, but for myself to prove to myself that my strategy and I'm understanding what I'm doing. That goal right there took me like over a year to get. It really did. Like, it took me so long to get that goal. It took me like over a year. It built up to it. But hey, here we are now, and like I don't even look for trades like that. But it's that got me to where I'm at today. Right? Yeah. So anyways, we'll keep going into the charts. Okay, so Dow Jones, the short's still making sense. After we get to this low, guys, I'm just letting you know there is no imbalance below it. If we don't get a rejection, okay, if on the daily time frame we don't get a nice like wick when we take out that low, if we don't get something like this really nice where we close up and we just close bearish without any rejection, I'm just going to continue looking for these lows. Okay? But if we do get a nice rejection, I am going to be participating in some longs to take out all of this liquidity right here. Okay? So I'm going to erase that one. Yeah. To catch all of this liquidity right here. You see all these relative highs? All this right here. All this trend line. It's beautiful, isn't it? I promise you guys, we're going for that. All right? You just got to be patient. Patience. Work your patience. Let your patience work for you. All right? So NASDAQ. All right, guys, moment of truth. I know I've been getting a lot of questions about NAS. This has honestly been a hell of a ride for NAS. I've been getting targets and hitting targets after targets after targets. It's been pretty nice, but the only thing is I haven't been a part of it. It doesn't come back. Doesn't come back low enough. So let's go. We started on the monthly on everything else, so we're gonna go to the monthly. All right, guys, so here we are. Let's erase that. Okay, so check this out. Of course, we're pretty bullish here on the monthly. We can clearly see that. Okay, we've seen that NASDAQ is, technology in the American technology is advancing with this whole AI thing. The world is advancing. Okay, and we're going to anticipate the world of technology. SpaceX, Tesla, all of these companies that are just advancing, we're going to anticipate them to continue to be invested on. Okay, a huge part of what the world is influencing is becoming multi-planetary. Okay, the world, it's literally a race between the United States and all the other countries to see what company, what business, what country gets to acquire land out there, or acquire business out there, acquire whatever, right? It's literally a race out there. So they're investing billions of dollars into these businesses to get out into space, satellites, all of these things. And so you can anticipate that NASDAQ is more than likely going to continue pumping for the highs pretty well. Previous monthly low was taken out over here. That was the February's low, and we haven't seen a monthly low since. On a weekly perspective, we keep coming back for internal liquidity. Check this out. Internal liquidity there. Internal liquidity there. Okay, we keep coming back for internal liquidity. And it's pretty nice to see, but you have to understand too that because we're getting all this internal liquidity, until we hit our objectives, I'm not going to anticipate more like returns. Okay? Unless the daily breaks, I'm bullish. Again, unless the daily breaks, I'm pretty bullish. Okay? So here you guys can see on a daily perspective, we got a beautiful higher high on Wednesday. Sorry, one sec. My device is going crazy. I don't want to get distracted by it. Okay, so we've had a nice move from Wednesday, right? If we're bullish, answer me this question, guys, on the chat. If we're bullish, understanding weekly profiles, if we're bullish, what should be created on a weekly profile, right? If the opening of a candle, Friday's right there, okay? If we have the opening and we're bullish, okay, the low of the week should be created through what days? If we're bullish, what days will create the low of the week? Sorry, I was kind of figuring out a way to ask that, but I couldn't, for some reason, put the words together. So, if we're bullish, if you're saying, okay, I anticipate to see another bullish week. Cool. If you anticipate another bullish week, when should the low of the week be created? Between what days? Drop it in the chat. Drop it in the chat. And if you don't know, it's cool. You were about to find out. Okay? So, Wednesday AM session, close. So the low of the week, if you're bullish, okay? If you're bullish, the low of the week should be created between Monday through Wednesday. Monday through Wednesday will create the low of the week. Okay? So, here, good example. Here's a Monday. We get a bearish closure, and then boom, just pumps right back up on a Friday. Okay, then Monday open, we get a push down. Wednesday creates the low of the week. Then we get Thursday, Friday, right? Then we get Friday here, close, bearish closure. Then a Monday, bullish. Monday could have set the low of the week. Okay. I wanted it a lot lower, but, price action has definitely not been coming back on NAS. This is where I was personally pretty hurt. So I was looking for longs, still pretty bullish, despite a lot of people ask me, like, why was I still long even if we had this bearish closure on the 4-hour? And it's mainly the daily. Whenever I see a breaker structure, I zoom out one time frame just to double check it. Just double check it. Double check your work. It won't kill you. It will save you so much money if you ever see a break of structure and then just go one time frame higher. The world clears up. Okay, so I was looking for some longs. There was some bullish divergence between Dow and Nasdaq, so I didn't anticipate Nasdaq to take out the previous daily low like Dow did. But I was looking for the Asian low. And so as you guys can see here, there's the Asian low. So that's literally all I was waiting for to go long. And yeah, it just didn't come for me for my entry. And then the PM session right here, I honestly was not a part of it. I don't really trade the PM session. The PM session starts at 1:30 Eastern time. Okay. This goes from 1:30 Eastern time to 3 p.m. Eastern time. That's the PM session. And I'm not a huge fan of it, but there are a lot of really nice moves that happen throughout the PM session, especially if throughout the morning session we didn't really get much. But yeah, no, that's really how close we came for me to go long. I just didn't come. I didn't do it, right? So just kind of left it alone. Then on today, okay, here on the 4-hour, you can clearly see it. Okay, you can see it a lot better. But this is what I would look for, is I look for higher time from liquidity. I look for rejections, the reaction of price when we hit liquidity levels, and you guys can clearly see from a previous weekly low, we have continued to pump up. Okay, So because we took out that previous weekly low here, I don't anticipate us to turn around just yet until we get a daily distribution. Until that happens, I'm pretty bullish. Okay, I'm pretty bullish. And so therefore, when we were trading below this high right here, right below those equal highs right there, okay, again, remember what my favorite types of setups are? It's just like, we have liquidity, right? We have liquidity. We're going to create a higher high. But right before we create a higher high, we have a pullback. And then boom, to the high. That's exactly what happened today. Okay? Exactly what happened today. So let's go to the 1 hour. Or the 4 hour real quick. 4 hour here. Okay, comes into this previous 4 hour order block. Okay? Not just that, but we have this imbalance here. Now, a lot of people may not see this imbalance, but there is an imbalance right here. Okay? You guys see that bearish imbalance right there? Bearish imbalance. Write this down. Trading through an imbalance or trading to an imbalance does not balance price. Trading to or through an imbalance does not balance price. Okay? An imbalance has to be traded through multiple, and even then it will still have insufficiency in it, in that price level. Okay? And good shit, Juan. I'm glad you remember. And so you have this imbalance. Then you have the 1 hour. The 1 hour London low gets taken out. Okay. The London low gets taken out. All right. Not just that. And now we can narrow down also our imbalance. Remember that 4 hour imbalance? Now we can narrow it down too. Now it's just that 1 hour imbalance. And you can see that we just come down to that 1 hour imbalance really nicely. Not just that, but we take out intraday liquidity. What's intraday liquidity? Anything within the daily time frame. So Asian low, London low, right? Liquidity. 1 hour, previous 1 hour low. That is liquidity. You guys see this right here? Look at that. Look how we ran that low. That's intraday liquidity. Then you guys can see here on the 15 minute, after we took out all that liquidity, you have this imbalance here. But again, like I said, I personally don't like two things. I mean, I don't like one thing giving me my objective, okay? I like multiple things lining up together. So we're going to look at this gap right here, okay? This opening gap right there, that's a gap for the daily. Okay. We're going to drag that across. We have this imbalance. We have this opening gap. Okay. And not just that, but we also have another insufficiency right here. So overlapping imbalances. Look at that. We have this imbalance, and this imbalance. I mean, this imbalance and this imbalance. They overlap each other at this level. We got intraday liquidity, right? We got multiple confirmations lining up and overlapping each other to create a higher level of support. Okay. And I honestly didn't look too much at the markets this morning, but it looks beautiful. Price action. Oh, I did look at the markets. And so when this happened, I'll show you guys where I missed. So once we came into this area, I'll show you guys where I didn't get my trade. And it was right here. It was that imbalance, and I think it was on the 2 minute or the 1 minute. I'm gonna go to the 1 minute. I'm pretty sure it was the 1 minute. Yeah, it was the 1 minute. Yeah, it was this imbalance, and we never came back to it. So yeah, I was just waiting there, and then price action left. And then I was looking at like the 3 minute, and I just didn't see any more imbalances other than this one. And so I marked that imbalance out, and yeah, I just didn't come back to it. It just didn't come back to my areas. And so price action continued to pump. We took out that high. We took out all the highs that were there. And yeah, so continued to pump to the upside, created some really, really relative highs that are going to be easily taken out today or later on throughout New York session. So Drop some threes in the chat if everything today is making sense. Drop some threes in the chat if you learned something new. And drop some threes in the chat if you're having a good time. I moved some furniture around, so my office is a mess. I have like shit on the floor. It's horrible. Well, not shit, but like water bottles. It's horrible. I need to clean my space. Anyways. All right, guys. Yeah. I appreciate you guys as well. And yeah, guys, I mean, that's it for today. If you guys have any questions, comments, or observations, I welcome any feedback, any comments, any suggestions. Anything that you guys want to review, I welcome it all. If you guys want me to break down an asset, I always welcome those. Guys, I know we're kind of wrapping up the call right now, but I want you to encourage you. Next time you come, don't show up empty-handed. Bring an asset, bring a trade, bring something to the table, because your quality, the quality of knowledge that you will be able to retain is only going to be given to you with the quality of questions that you bring upon. So if you bring a low quality question, you may get a low quality answer. But if you bring a high quality experience or a high quality question, you're going to get some really good information. That's, again, I want to leave you guys with this last thought, okay? Okay, remember what Albert Einstein said, okay? No problem will be resolved with the same level of consciousness that created it. No opportunity that you have in your peripheral, in your path, in your journey right now that you've created can be seized with the same level of consciousness that created that opportunity. It is time to level up ourselves, to level up our thinking, right? Give me one sec. There you go. It is time to level up our thinking, to level up ourselves, to level up our growth, to level up our level of quality of studying, our level of quality of commitment. Time to not be part-time, half-time. Time to be full-time, all on board onto this whole journey. Right, guys? And all I could say is I believe in every single one of you that keeps tuning in week after week. And I want to encourage you guys to continue pushing forward despite anything negative that may be going on in your life. I just want you to know that I'm proud of you. I'm proud of every single one of you for showing up, because you're not showing up for inner wealth, you're showing up for yourself. And that, to me, is everything. So thank you guys for your time, space, love. It means the world to me. I will see you guys next week. Probably later on this week. Depending on how price action plays out, we'll more than likely do another market mentorship overview to review price together again this week. So stay tuned for any videos. Stay tuned for any more live sessions. I did mention that we will be throwing New York sessions here in the near future. You guys responded. Everybody went crazy for it. So we are going to be bringing New York session trading into the week, into our schedule. It won't be every day, okay? But it'll probably be once or twice a week. So I'll find once or twice a week where we can just go live. And yeah, it's going to be an amazing ride, guys. We're going to continue to grow as a community. We're going to continue to grow as individuals. And with that, guys, I'll let you be. Take care. Have an amazing rest of your week. Clap easy, and please trade responsibly, okay? Peace.
there are 4 things to consider in terms of attitude. One is how you feel about the past. Best advice I can give you on that is treat the past as a school. Let it teach you the mistakes you've made, the things that went wrong, the things that didn't work. Don't use the past as a burden to carry, and don't use the past as a club to beat yourself to death. Past losses, past failures, past mistakes. But let the past be a school. Tough school maybe. We've all been through some tough stuff. So if you feel good about the past, draw from it for experience and let it teach you. Then next is how you feel about the future. We've got to have the future well designed. The future is called the promise. And here's what we teach in our leadership series. The promise of the future can be an awesome force for your own future. The promise of the future, designing the future. There's 2 ways to face the future. One is with apprehension, and the other is with anticipation. I promise you, in my travels around the world, most people face the future with apprehension. And here's why. They don't have it well designed. They've sort of left that up to someone else to fix. But here's the best way to face the future, with anticipation. And you can face the future with anticipation if the future is clear, if the future is well designed. And I would like to have you consider some thoughts with me that help me to really change my future by giving it some thought and some consideration. And here it is. In setting goals, it's very simple. Number 1, decide what you want. You just take a little time. You sit down and say, what do I want? What kind of skills do I want? What kind of income do I want for the future? What would I like? Where would I like to go? Places I'd like to visit. Habits I'd like to acquire. Skills I'd like to have. You just take a little time to think about what you want. Economics, friendships, people you'd like to meet, places you'd like to go. You just take some time. And then I suggest, when you've thought about what you want for the future, make a list. Just jot it all down. It's really a very simple process. And then here's number 3. Keep all the old lists. I'm telling you, this served me so well, keeping my old list of goals. I look back now 10, 20 years ago at goals I set, lists I made, and I smile now because here's what I thought was so important, 20 years ago. Now some of those things aren't even on my list. I've got a new list. I've grown. I've changed. I've matured. But I give you that advice. Decide what you want. Number 2, write it down. Number 3, keep the old lists. And then here's number 4. When you get something that's on one of these lists, check it off. Part of the fun of having a list is checking it off. And then if you can add some drama to checking it off, see, that's what really helps. I set a goal to go to Spain many, many years ago. And when I finally made my first trip to Spain, I had that journal with me that had that list in it. And while I had my journal on my lap, waiting for the wheels to touch down in Madrid, I waited until the wheels touched the runway, and I checked it off. Just adding a little drama. So, part of the fun of having a list is checking it off. Now, here's what's important about the lists and designing your future. If the future gets clear, the price gets easier. Because you got to remember, for every promise, there's a price to pay. Everybody's got to pay the price. Everybody's got to do the deal. Everybody's got to do the disciplines. Everybody has to pay. But here's what I've discovered. If the promise is clear and powerful, the price is easy to pay. The price is some classes. The price is a few books. The price is a few disciplines. The price is finding something that'll make your life better, make you grow, make you change, make you develop. So the first part of the key is to design the promise. Then, what is the price to pay? I'm telling you, the price will be easy. Anybody in my audience can pay it, no matter where you are, where you come from. Color doesn't matter, religion doesn't matter, where you grew up doesn't matter, circumstances don't matter. I'm telling you, if you'll make the promise of the future clear for yourself, the things you want, the places you want to go, the things you want to have, the person you want to become, the skills you want, the homes you want, the future you want, the friends you want, all of the values of life that you could possibly want. If you'll make that clear, make those lists, and be serious about it, I promise you it's an easy price to pay. Anybody can pay it. And the best advice I can give you is, if I can do it, you can do it. farm boy from Idaho, raised in obscurity. I changed my life, turned it upside down, turned it all around, found economics, found future, found promise, and if I can do it, you can do it.